Hi guys, welcome back for one more episode. I hope that doing well, and if you're new, welcome. So, Careless Podcast is a podcast which involves self improvement, growing physical health, and we will help you to reach your full potential. So, you guys, in this topic, we will be talking about be careful about what people say in jokes. You guys, I feel most of people, especially nowadays, they don't, people are just fake. And I just feel that you need to be very careful about what people say about you in jokes because sometimes they mean it. They really mean it what they're saying jokes. So they call you, oh, you're such a fatty patty. It wasn't funny, and they mean it. Because it is some jokes that you see, oh, it doesn't, like, I don't care, it doesn't really matter. But it's some jokes that can be very horrible and hurtful for you and bad for your mental health. So, and then people, they usually, what they do in this situation, they usually laugh. And me myself, I've experienced this. People made jokes about me, like very hurtful jokes, and then I laughed with them. And then when I was going back home, I cried about it. I cried about it, and I started to feel sad, and I said, why are they saying those mean things to me? And I realized that it was because I laughed with them. Because if I wouldn't laugh and I would question them and starting complaining, why did you say that? Why did you do that? Why you like saying those things? Why you doing that and all that? They will stop. But I feel people, they don't stop because they think it is funny and they like, especially it is most especially people who think you are such a beautiful girl or boy, and they will make you feel powerless. They will make you feel insecure with those little jokes, and if you can't tell them why you're doing this, they will not stop. So start telling them, don't be afraid. Don't be afraid to tell them the truth. Especially, for example, we'll say they call you fat, and then you say, and then instead of laughing with them at the first time, you tell them, why did you say that? Why did you say that? And then you say, oh, but it was just a joke. And I say, okay, but why did you say that? Explain, please explain. Why did you say that? What was the point of saying that? And when you start to complain to them, you guys, it will not be funny anymore. It will be embarrassing. It will be literally embarrassing, and you will see in the room, like, the climax will be very different. Everybody will like start staring at you and this boy who made the joke, and he will be so embarrassed. And if they don't answer, and if they don't say please, Nate, if they don't ask for forgiveness, cut them off. Cut them off. They're not your friends anymore. You don't talk to them anymore. Okay, if it is the first time, okay, you can tell them, okay, I'm sorry because I did that and all that. But if it's not, then cut them off. You need to know like your worth, because when you know how much you're worth and your values are, you will not allow people step on you like that. You will not You're not trash that they can just sit there and mock every time. What is this? Where is your self-respect? Look, if people don't respect you, or like if you don't respect yourself, why do you think people will respect you? And I'm not judging you, because I feel it is difficult sometimes to tell them the truth and say, like, why did you do that? Why did you say that? It can be difficult. But if you start little by little, at the end of the day, you will do it. You will do it. And sometimes you just don't need like to tell them, just cut them off. Cut them off. And if they are continue to do this, then you start to complain, and then why are you saying that? Do you think it is funny? What about I say something that you're insecure about? Would you laugh? And start complaining them, because with time they will realize, oh, the thing I did was fucked up. Why did I say that? It was very mean. I remember in my old school, they said to me very hurtful things, like horrible things. Very hurtful things, like it was hurting me inside. And I remember I laughed with them. And I remember also when I was friend with the girl, I think I said it before in some episode, I don't remember, but she always said some hurtful things that made me think about my life, like what I'm doing. Why do people like say those hurtful things to me? I've never done something bad about them. I never done it, but the reason that I allowed it was even worse, because I didn't have respect. I didn't have self-respect, and I didn't respect me, you know. And it was just like at the time, I didn't have self-respect. I didn't have self-control. I was just living my life in the worst way possible. Cause okay, I don't want to like tell you guys my story. If you want to hear it about how I become the worst version of me to the best version of me. But whoever, and then I remember also, oh my gosh, this girl, she I didn't know this at the time, but she was so insecure about me, like so insecure that she literally would tell the boys that I was insecure about something, and making up things that wasn't real. I remember one time, like at the time it wasn't like yellow teeth, but it was just like, it wasn't white, it wasn't white, because at the time I drank too much coffee, like too much, like 3 cups a day, 4 cups a day, and it was too much. And then with time my teeth started to get a little bit like yellowed. Now it is white, tank of oil pulling, and now and then I remember she always said, do you take care of your teeth? It was a boy. Do you take care of your teeth? And I say, yes, why? And he goes like, why are they yellow? And everybody starts to laugh, and I start to laugh with them. And when I go home, I started to like not really cry, but I felt like I was overthinking it, because I was like, nobody ever told me that. Why is he being so mean to me? Like, and then I remember this boy, he always says something hurtful, like, oh, why do you have like, what? Because I have braids, right? And they always said to me, oh, because I had like colorful braids, like ginger braids, blonde braids, I don't know what was on my mind, and white braids with every color possible. And then they said, why do you have those braids? Why do you have like another color? And I said, no, because I like it. And then he said in front of whole class, you look like a clown. I laughed with him. I was just like, what do you mean? Ha ha ha. It wasn't funny. And then I started to do like black braids instead, because not because of him saying that, but because I realized black braids is much prettier on me than colorful braids. And then I remember I came to school. It was something, I don't know what they were talking about, because I wasn't in this group. They took me out, it was a snapshot and all that, and they were mocking me in this group. Like it wasn't really bullying, because I was compactuated with them. And since all that, then I noticed that those jokes made me not really depression, but it was times that I couldn't like talk to someone. I couldn't like express myself, and then I started to like just I started to hide like my feelings, my emotions, and these like I forgive them, of course, because humans do wrong every day and it is normal. But the thing that made me like wow is that we're crawling back. They will like when I changed the school to another school because the school was 1 hour from my home and I went there. I needed to wake up very early. I remember they texted me and they was like, "Oh, do you have friends and all that?" And I just ignored them. And then I didn't block them, but I got out of the group. And I remember they were so curious because I took like I'm low profile. I don't even have TikTok anymore. So they started to texting me and all that, ask questions, but I just blocked them. And they started to like call me every day. Like they called me like 1 month ago. Like they start to call me and I was like, "What do you want?" Write down like, and they go like, "Oh, but pick up the phone." And I said, "No, I don't want to." And they saw that I was very rude with them, so they don't call me. But I hope they don't call me anymore because I don't have time for this shit. But whoever, you guys, I feel so much better now that I've tell you guys this. But be careful. And the things that I will recommend you to do is training yourself to speak up and fess up what you really feel and that you don't like disrespect, because they are disrespecting you. Will it be just you two or like in front of someone, in front of people, they are disrespecting you. So when you don't set this boundary and when you don't like tell them stop, why are you doing that, and you start complaining, they will not stop. And you can train this if you don't really have the courage to say that to them. You can just train at home, or like you can start off if they say some joke about you, you just can go and stare at them and just ask very very quietly, and then you can ask them, why are you doing that, why did you say that, like with a very low voice, and then they will start like to like scream at you and they laugh, and then you go like, why are you laughing, do you think it is funny? And you start complaining them, and they with time they will be embarrassed and they will leave you alone. Okay, they will leave you alone. And even if you're a friend, okay, I'm sorry to tell you that, but they're not your friends. If they make those little jokes about something that you're insecure, no, they're not your friends. And I have friends like this. My friends right like that I have now, in the start of this new school, I remember there was one girl, she made a very fucked up joke, and I told her, don't you ever say that again. Don't you dare say that again to me. It was very hurtful, and please don't say that. It's not funny. And then they saw that I get really upset, and then I got away from there. And then she called me and we talked and she said sorry, and I said okay, but please don't do that again. And every time she does some jokes, like some bad jokes, I always tell her like, don't do this, don't, you know. But with time, I don't really tell her anymore because I told her to not do that. So I just be quiet, I don't laugh, and I say, why'd you just say that? And then I stay there in my phone or like in my computer, whoever I'm doing in that time, and then she just looked at me like weirdly, but I don't care. Like honestly, like, do you think it is funny? Because I remember, because people, they're that way. When they point out something about you, you can say like your hair, your eyes, your face, your nose, your lips, your body. When they point out those things in you, they are jealous. It can be like both girls or boys or other genders. Then I feel like it can be something that they are really insecure about. You know, they can be insecure about something. We'll say it was a girl. she always said, "Oh my gosh, did you see, like, oh my gosh, look at," because I did my nails, right? And she goes like, "Oh my gosh, look at her nails. Why did she paint it wine wine red nails, dark red nails?" And then I heard that. I just look at her like this, and then I ignore it. You guys, after 2 days, she came with the same color of nails. That was crazy. I was like, what? Is she for real? Like, because she was sitting next to me, like, and I was like, what? Did she do the same color nail as me? You guys, she was trying to act like me so bad. Then when she stopped it, and now she's more gentle, but I don't talk to her because she's like, no. You guys, I didn't know. And then with time, instead of getting like saying she's copying me, then I didn't say nothing. Like, honestly, I don't care. But then she was with her friends, and she said that I copied her nails. And I said, no, this is some bullshit. But they knew that I didn't copy because I had it before, and I out on my and my Snapchat account, honestly, about my nails. And yes, so you guys, the conclusion of this that I've talked about is having more self-respect, and having having more self-respect, self-control, self-love, and know your values, because when you know your values, you will automatically have self-respect. And don't let anybody treat you like a trash, because you're not, and you can reach your full potential. And if they say something bad about you, if they're insecure about, just know they're jealous and they wanted to have what you have. So just don't care. Like, just look at them like, are you for real? Or just ignore them, be silence. It will be so embarrassing. And also, know your values. This is a very important thing. I know I'm repeating this more a few times, but know your values, because I just feel when you know it, then it will be easy to you. It will be easier, so you can, like, set boundaries to others. And set boundaries, yeah, set boundaries. When you don't like something, tell them. When they did something that was fucked up, tell them. And yes, you guys, this was a video. I hope you guys enjoyed, and if you're new here, I hope that you enjoyed. So go to my Instagram, check out my Instagram, which is called Careless Podcast, and give me feedback. And I hope that you have an amazing week.